We are familiar with the story of the goose that laid golden eggs and its greedy master. Yet, we are not any different from the greedy master when it comes to using forest, the most precious of natural resources.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಡು ಅಂದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲ ಹುಣಸೆ ಒನ್ನೆ ಬಿರುಡೆ ಬಿಲ್ವಾರ ಬಿದಿರು
ಗಂಧದ ಮರಗಳು ನಾವು ಹುಡುಗರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆತ್ತಿ 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 ಹೊಲಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ನಾಟಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿಬಿಡೋರು.
ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಮನೆ ಹಿಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿರತೆಗಳು ಹುಲಿಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವು. ಆವಾಗ
ಹುಲಿ ಇತ್ತು, ನಾಯಿ ಕರಡಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಹಂದಿಗಳಿತ್ತು.
ಗಾಳಿ ಬೀಸದ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು
ಹೋಯ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಗ್ಯಾಡ್ಸತ್ತಂಗೆ ಒಣಗಿ
ಊರ್ನರೇ ಒಂದಾಗಿ ಮರ ಕಡ್ದು ಸೋದೆಗಳ್ಗೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರಿ ನೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಉರಿತದ ಮರ.
We are facing consequences of deforestation. Firewood, timber, medicines and other allied industries depend on the availability of forest resources. It is time that we need to come up with safe and secure methods to preserve and conserve our ecosystem by means of sustainable harvesting of forest-based natural resources. A ray of hope in this direction is the efforts initiated by Foundation for Revitalization of Local Health Traditions, Bangalore.
The knowledge of medicinal plants has been largely used in our society for the purposes of health security.
Much of the dependence on these species, apart from the timber species, was of the local people at a very, very subsistence level, only for self-consumption, for their own use at the domestic level.
To a limited extent, traditionally, plants were also used for livelihood security.
But as it came out of that domestic consumption parlance, it has become a commercial product.
We have 6,000 species that are being consumed and used by the people of India, by communities of India. But out of these 6,000 species, there are around 960 species that are in active trade.
Concept of sustainability, which is there in the timber species as sustained yield concept, but that was not there for the management of MFPs.
Natural resource managers cannot close their eyes to this fact. They have to address this problem of sustainable wild harvest.
And that is what brought FRLHT into this thought.
FRLHT has been working with active participation from the local communities and the forest department towards developing methodology for sustainable harvesting of medicinal plants and forest resources. It is evident that harvesting of medicinal plants in their natural habitat for commercial purposes without focus on sustainability of the species has resulted in large-scale deforestation. Increase in demand for some medicinal plants has posed a threat to some species. A number of valuable species have become extinct. Many are on the verge of extinction. Even some of the most common plant species are becoming rare, endangered and threatened.
It is necessary for forestry sector to realize that a lot of health security, livelihood security and economy depends on this resource. And so now they have to find a rational way of managing this resource.
But this is one aspect, not only at the national level, even at the international level, less discussed, less understood, how to develop sustainable levels or sustainable management systems for NTFPs or the MFPs. That is where FRLHT devised a methodology.
The ongoing process to come up with adaptive methodology for sustainably harvesting of 6 medicinal plant species in the region of Savandurga and Agumbe of Karnataka has attained significant developments.
Specifically, they were selected because one is in Western Ghats, most talked about conservation, most fragile ecosystem. The one is in very dry area of Karnataka, that's Savandurga.
The main aim of this project is to derive a professional methodology for sustainable usage of forest resources on the base of ecological, scientific, social, cultural and livelihood factors with community as the main stakeholder.
ನಮಗೂ ಕಾಡಿಗೂ ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಾಡಿಲ್ಲದೆ ನಾವು ಇರಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ.
There's no way we can ignore the knowledge of the people and the practice based experience of the people. That's where we brought in a very good concept of task team constitution at the village level, wherein we took care of gender sensitivity, we took care of intergenerational sensitivity or intergenerational involvement.
A subgroup within the village forest committee called the task team was set up. This group conducted regular meetings for collective decision making after discussions and consultations.
ಒಂದು 10 ಜನರದ್ದು ಈಗ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಸೇರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ಬಡವರು ಭೇದ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಹೆಂಗಸರು ಗಂಡಸರು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಭೇದ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸಮಾನತೆಯಿಂದ. ನಮಗೆ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಇಲಾಖೆಯವರು ರೈತಾಪಿ ಜನ ನಾಟಿ ವೈದ್ಯರನ್ನು ಸೇರಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅರಣ್ಯ ಉತ್ಪನ್ನದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅವು ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಸ್ಥರು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರ್ಪಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಪಡೆಗೆ.
ಇದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂಥ ಸಮಿತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಗ್ರಾಮಾರಣ್ಯ ಸಮಿತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳು ಗ್ರಾಮಾರಣ್ಯ ಸಮಿತಿಯನ್ನಲ್ಲೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ.
Factors like destructive harvesting methods, increasing demand and trade, possibility of present or future threat to species were considered for selection of plants. This was in consultation with local community, forest department officials and other stakeholders. Garcinia gummigatta, Cinnamomum malabatrum and Vatera indica from the Agumbe forests of Tirthalli Taluk of Shimoga district and Decalipus hamiltoni, Gymnema sylvestre and Limonia acidissima from Savandurga are chosen for developing adaptive management of sustainable harvesting. Communities of Agumbe and Savandurga decided to study the effects of different ways of harvesting in 3 different demarcated areas having different type of forests. 3 different ways of harvesting were adopted. 1 without any control over harvesting. The second with the pre-decided harvesting method adopted by the task team, and the third without any harvesting as part of this experiment. It was also decided to document the observations of each species as per the guidelines set by the task team. Role of FRLHT was instrumental in this stage in providing technical and scientific support to the task team.
Based on merger of the knowledge, current knowledge as well as the historical knowledge with the people in the task team and the scientific knowledge of phenology etc. of the species, we devised test methods for that.
This study has brought out many important findings and observations. There have been adverse effects on the growth of the plants in the region which adopted harvesting without any control. This in turn has affected the quality and rate of the final harvest. There has been a positive impact on the regeneration of species in areas where there has been no harvesting. Methods to support the growth of plants were adopted in areas that came under sustainable harvesting. It was found that Decalipus hamiltoni would survive if half of its roots were cut. It was best to hand pluck the leaves of cinnamon.
ಬಲಿತ ಎಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇದನ್ನು ಔಷಧಿ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಗಿಡಕ್ಕೆ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗದಂತೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ.
ಸರ್ ಇದು ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕಿತ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಕಲ್ಲ ಮೆಣಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೋ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಕಿತ್ತಂತೀವಿ ಸರ್. ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಬೇರೆ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರು ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಉಳಿಸಿ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ತೆಗಿತೀವಿ.
ಹಣ್ಣು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಫಲ ಆಗಿ ಅದು ಉದುರಿದಾಗ ಪಕ್ಷಿಗಳಾದ್ರೂ ತಿಂತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಮನ್ಸರಾದ್ರೂ ತಿಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಪಕ್ಷಿ ತಿಂದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಜ ಉದುರ್ತಿರತ್ತವ ಸಸಿಗಳಾಗ್ತವೆ. ಅರ್ಧ ದಿನದೊಳಗೆ ಕಿತ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲ. ಎಂಟಾಣಿ 1 ರೂಪಾಯಿ 2 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಾರ್ತೀವಿ.
ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಜಾಗದಿಂದನೇ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಾರಾಂಶ ತಗೊಂಡು ಇಡೀ ಅರಣ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅಳವಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಉದ್ದೇಶ.
This community has demonstrated that sustainable harvesting methods are beneficial for the survival of the species and their livelihood. FRLHT has used the practical knowledge, experience of these people to train and guide people in other regions.
Community to community training, where the communities who initially participated in this work have shared their experience with other communities in the region.
They have brought together their knowledge at one place, documented the traditional as well as an NGO like FRLHT providing the academic and the scientific knowledge. That has given us the test method which was there as in the experimentation, but ultimately in most of the species we have found that the test method has stood the test of time and has evolved or has come out into as the method of starting point for sustainable harvest.
This is the success story of the implementation of sustainable harvesting methodology. The people of Agumbe and Savandurga have rediscovered the fact that plants protect their protectors. It is only the beginning of understanding the importance of survival of the goose laying golden eggs. More such thoughts backed by actions by all of us can definitely save Mother Earth.